Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to episode number 6 of the Altered States Unplugged podcast. I am one half of this dynamic duo, Kyle Strubing. I am here with my life partner, Jojo Strubing. Jojo, baby, how we doing today?
We are great. I'm excited for today. It's a topic I've been real excited to talk about.
It certainly has been top of mind, huh?
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited. It's going great though, but it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been fun for sure.
It has. So today we are diving into our franchise opportunities with Altered States. So we are officially franchising, which means that you can open your very own Altered States Wellness Studio, and we'll show you everything about how to do it and guide you along the way. So I am pumped to share with everyone. I know I talk to people a lot at the store, in my personal life, that are kind of at a crossroads in their career. A lot of people are looking to leave their 9-to-5 jobs. They're maybe tired of the corporate America. They have a passion for wellness and just want to do more to impact their community and help other people feel better. A lot of people that have fallen in love with float therapy and want to share it with more people. So we are going to dive into all of that today. We're going to share a little bit about our own story, how we left our corporate gigs and founded Altered States. We're going to dive into a little bit about just what franchising is, because a lot of people I know have heard about franchising, but they're still unsure of what it really means. And then we'll share a little bit with you about the opportunity and what it would look like to own your very own Altered States. So if you have even just the tiniest inkling of wanting to be a business owner or what it would look like to open your own studio, tune in for this episode. It's going to be a good one. Or if you know somebody that would be a great fit for this, send it to them as well. But we will be diving into all the insides and outs today. And if this sounds like something that piques your interest, then head over to alteredstateswellness.com/franchise. You can submit your info and we'll give you a call and have a conversation with you.
Yeah, we'll show you the ins and outs, right? Tell you what to do and especially what not to do, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, Kyle, why don't you kick off just with sharing a little bit about our personal story?
Yeah, absolutely. So what was this? Maybe 7-8 years ago, Jojo and I were both doing the corporate gig. You know, it was great. We were making good checks. It was awesome. But I'm not going to lie, something was missing.
Yeah.
Something was missing. I've always been kind of a side hustle guy. I've always had a job and a side hustle. And I just wanted to... We just wanted to work for ourselves. It was something that we were looking into. We honestly started shopping around and seeing, living the American dream and get 5 Subways or whatever, right? And and we kind of went down this path here. My friend, business associate, opened a CBD franchise. Mm-hmm. And he was awesome, and he opened the books for us.
They were killing it. They were crushing it.
Yeah, they were absolutely crushing it. And with CBD being a weird industry, it was, there was a lot of trepidation. We didn't know, we didn't this, we didn't that, but we just felt, hey, we got to start this. We have to at least vet this out.
Yeah.
Luckily, it took off. It was actually at our original location that we still have here in Capel. And things have kind of evolved, and we'll touch on that. But it started doing very well, and we were still doing the 9-to-5. I mean, you talk about those were some long days there. Those were some long days, but worth it, right? You could see yourself building things, and we were helping people, and it was really good. And we really were an early adopter into that CBD boom before the, not to get overly technical with the hemp industry here, but even before the Farm Bill of 2018, we had a store already. Mm-hmm. So as things progressed, we opened 2 more locations, and that was that was a thing.
Yeah, and still working our full-time jobs. That was crazy. I don't recommend it.
Right.
But but we learned a lot.
We learned a ton. Yeah. So we had we had 3 locations opened up. I mean, and our big thing is, once we get those keys, it is a mad rush for us. We want to go from keys to cards as fast as possible. I think on our 3rd location, we got the keys on Thursday or Tuesday, and we're running cards by Saturday. I mean, was it the most ideal thing? Could we do that with our current model? No. But the mentality,
we'll try.
But and also the mentality of that has really stuck with us, I would say, throughout, especially with you. It's like, it's just a mad rush. The urgency of it for you is, I see that in your day to day all the time.
Yeah.
So that was really big. As we got more and more involved into the franchise. JoJo actually did spend 2 years on the board of directors, which was pretty eye-opening for her, I would say. And she says, right, it showed her what was good and what was bad about it. So she understood it from a high level.
Yeah. What I liked the franchise to do, what I thought the franchise could have done better. Got to spend a lot of time at franchisee locations, training franchisees and really hearing from each of them, seeing these different parts of the country. Like, what's going on in Florida or what was going on in Kansas City was far different than Texas. And so it was really neat to see all these different regions.
Sure. And then as that progressed, we ended up selling the 2 locations. So we're familiar with buying and selling businesses at this point.
They're still open today.
They are
Both still doing
today.
Really well. It was a great opportunity.
But that allowed us to, I found with 3 locations, we were a lot more reactive than we were proactive. And Plano was out of toilet paper while the employee in Frisco didn't show up, and Capel, it was just always a thing. We were just not very proactive.
Right.
But I don't want to say getting rid of them. It was actually fairly lucrative for us. So it was a positive deal, but we were able to then focus back in on what we were doing in Capel and really maximize that. And as that evolved, we added the float tanks and became much more of a health and wellness operation as opposed to just a product-based business. And for me, obviously, it was a lot more beneficial as a business owner. Our specific unit has many different, they had different suites. So there was plumbing and all types of stuff. And you'd walk by and it was like I had 3 offices and we weren't making money off of the square footage. So we got every chiropractor, massage therapist in the world in there.
Esthetician. We tried it all.
We tried. And they were great at what they did. It was just tough. There were other personalities.
It was hard to implement or add it into the business. It was like they had their own business, we had our business, and we were trying to. It was hard.
Yes.
It was tough.
So we decided, we were like, well, how do we? We liked the additional services. It just made sense, right? People coming in for anxiety, pain, all that stuff also needed the services that we were offering, but it was like, how do we cut out the providers?
Right.
How do we cut out the providers? Enter float therapy.
Yeah.
I started floating. JoJo started floating. It was a game changer for me for anger management, things of that nature. And we decided, what would it take?
Yeah.
And that's really our mentality. And whenever we have something, it's like, well, nah, we're never negative about it. We always are. The one thing about you is you're always curious about things. And we try to stay curious to say, well, what really would this take? And you would think it would be a very daunting task, but we pulled it off.
Yeah.
Right? So we got the first tank in, COVID hit, tough, right? Hard to sell hard to sell a shared water experience in the beginning of COVID. So, but it allowed us to kind of hone in on our skills and processes like that. And then as that grew, we added the second, and we started adding all these other things that complemented with it. And here's where we are right now. Yeah. We are actually tapped out on square footage at our store. So we made the decision now to say, okay, cool. Do we blow this up or, just take all of our stuff and move it to a bigger spot, reinvest? Fine. Yeah, sure. We could still do that. But based off of all that we've done, wouldn't it make more sense to offer this opportunity to other people?
Yeah.
JoJo started the Receipt Paper podcast. Okay. And the Receipt Paper podcast, we saw a lot of people, since we were within the franchise that we were in, we were heavily incentivized to bring other people on, not like an MLM, but similar to, right? To where if we brought them on, we would gain financially, and also it was just emotionally, morally, it was great. It was
almost like an MLM for a while there. Yeah.
I hate saying that. Yeah. It was like an MLM with brick and mortar stores, but we had all this experience of helping people. We brought in a bunch of people into the mix, and they're all still doing well. But we would help them actually open the stores. I was there hanging ceiling tiles at grand openings. I mean, you were getting people's, Google My Business up and running. I mean, we were doing all these things. So we had a ton of experience, and we really enjoyed that at a high level.
Yeah. We loved it. We fell in love with helping owners, and we were learning a lot, opening 3 locations ourselves. By the time we got to that third one, like Kyle said, we were doing it so fast. It was like we knew exactly what to look for, how to secure the location, what to negotiate in the lease. I mean, we had everything down, right?
Yeah, it was pretty it was pretty special. But we also noticed that there was no resource for somebody who wanted to do this. There's resources for everything, right? But nothing specifically towards, hey, I want to open a brick and mortar business. Everybody wants to do online business, whatever. And that's great. And there's a ton of stuff for that. But day one, what the heck do I do? Yeah. Right.
And you want to open a donut shop. Where do I start? There's not a lot of resources out there.
Right. So we did that. We started the Receipt Paper podcast to kind of put some of that out. The goal, or what I always say, is the point of that was to prevent you from making a $50,000 mistake.
Right.
That's why we're involved. So taking this content so that you're not making a critical mistake that we've made before.
Yeah. Choosing the wrong location, not negotiating your lease correctly, buying the wrong products, or setting up your build out incorrectly.
Right.
We taught people through Brick and Mortar Academy how to open businesses in general. So it was any product or service-based business. Spent a whole year doing that, and it was really fun. It was
a ton
so
of fun.
cool to spend time with people, helping them open these different businesses. We even helped a couple open a float therapy space.
Right.
But through that, we really realized, we have a model of what we do at our own business.
Sure.
Why don't we just teach people exactly what we do?
Right.
Not just a physical business, but our business, right?
Sure. That birthed Altered States Wellness. We had kind of our franchise agreement had expired, and we just wanted to wrap everything in to get the whole products and services all together, and just so it was a one-stop shop, and you could, in each one of the things, bounce off of each other, right? People are coming in for these sleep, anxiety, pain, da-da-da-da-da. The products that we had matched that, and the services matched it. So as far as business is concerned, it was a win for us. It was the same people that were coming through the door. So here's Altered States Wellness. But yes, the mission for that, though, is definitely to it's just to bring wellness in a brick and mortar setting to every community, to educate, inspire, and empower more people to reach their full potential.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that we really harp on, and we live at the store every day, all day.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about the industry here later, but this is just an untapped market ready to be taken on. There's so much growth here. So we are so excited about it. I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but it's been really exciting taking everything that we've done, everything that we've tried that didn't work, and everything that we tried that did work, and just putting it all packaged together so somebody can take this model and replicate it and not have to make all those tough decisions and go through those challenges that we had to, right?
Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistakes. So that's kind of our backstory. I hate talking about myself, but it kind of helps you realize where we're coming from.
Yeah.
Babe, why don't you tell them a little bit about what franchising is?
Yeah. So if you're not familiar, I'm sure everybody's heard of franchise. Subway's got a franchise. Somebody said they own 7-Eleven franchises. You hear people owning them all the time, but it's really simply a concept of purchasing a license or being granted a license in a territory to replicate our business. So from the logo to the brand that we've built and the reputation that we've built, you instantly have access to that. From the model of our business and what services we offer, products we sell, you get all of our secret sauce there. So we teach you all the things that we do that make our experience so well. We show you exactly how to open this business with, a 200-page manual and an online training that we show you everything. And we are there to guide you beyond the grand opening, right? So you get a lot of that support along the way. But like Kyle said, learning from what we've already done, right? So you don't have to go out there and try it on your own. You're kind of getting that handheld,
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, especially like something will go down at the store or whatever, and Jojo looks at me, he's like, how did you not know this? Like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, because I don't have a degree in this. I have a degree in history. Like, it doesn't apply. Well, this, one of the biggest benefits is, and that was, to me, was like, I have this motto of like, must self-rescue. No one's coming to save you. Whereas with this, you then have someone to lean on who's been through that. Obviously, I've made connections throughout the industry. I have people and mentors now that I can lean on. But especially in the beginning, you're like, I didn't even know that this was possible. Where the heck do I go from here?
Yeah. So having been on the franchisee side, we were franchisees with a CBD franchise, and now being on the franchisor side, one thing that we really advocate for is people really understanding what they're getting into as a franchisee. So we are super transparent about the pros and cons here. And so I'm going to dive into a couple of those. So the pros, obviously, is you get that established brand, an established business model. You get a complete roadmap. Like, you're not asking questions or looking up things about business permits. We got those handed to you. You don't need to wonder how to treat the water in the float tank. We've got that for you. So you get all of that, which is huge. Huge time saver, huge money saver. Benefits definitely there.
Because if you mess up the float water, which I've done before, you're not only replacing, a ton of salt, a half ton of salt. You're also calling those people, telling them that they can't float. So it's it's pretty important to know what you're doing with that.
Yeah. So you obviously get the training and ongoing support. So we continue to support you the duration of you being in that business. And then obviously it's a lower risk than starting from scratch. You've got somebody helping you. You've got somebody helping you that's gone before you. You've got a group. As the franchise grows, you get a group of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you get to learn from them and capitalize on what they do well. You get marketing and advertising assistance. This part is huge, and where you really get that economies of scale from people that, if I'm one business and putting my marketing money out there rather than 10 businesses, obviously it's going to go a lot further when you can put all that funds together to market and advertise.
That was a big thing for us, was the economies of scale, to sit here and say, and that allowed us, towards the end it kind of tapped out, but the whole idea for me was, yes, I want to be able to spend money on marketing, but this is going to allow me to get into bigger things because we're just going to have a bigger spend. Got into things like radio that maybe for us in Capel wouldn't made sense to blast to everybody because they go to all these other stores, but we just wanted to do it, right? And if we could all throw in together, it just benefited everyone. And that the economies of scale to not only purchase, but also market and everything was, it was fantastic.
Your brand just grows faster.
Right.
And then obviously you learn what to do, what not to do. So those mistakes, learning, hey, don't buy that brand, or, don't use this Epsom salt. Don't, that's huge when you're a new business owner. You spend $1,000 on the wrong supplies. Like that's a tough one, right?
It's tough to return 1,000 pounds of salt.
Or, a full float tank. You buy the wrong brand and it's not pretty. But there are some things that you might consider cons of franchising, or things that, I think that you should just consider, right? And that's obviously, there is an initial investment. There's a franchise fee to license the brand and get all of this support, right? I would love to do this for free, but, we do have to make some money at the end of the day. But Kyle and I always say that these costs will likely outweigh the cost of figuring it out yourself, right? We will prevent you from making $40,000 worth of mistakes. So it usually, we would say is worth it. And then you're obviously going to have some adherence to the franchisor guidelines. So I like to think of this as like the neighborhood with an HOA, right? The HOA, the houses they look a little nicer, the yards are all nice. If somebody kind of steps out of bounds a little bit and puts that boat in their driveway, they get a letter from the HOA. So it just keeps everybody kind of watching their P's and Q's and staying on top of, what things should appear like. So for the most part, I think this is a very positive thing, but you want to make sure it's a franchise that you like and that has a model that you don't want to make a lot of changes to, right? So if you see this model and you're like, oh man, I want to do this totally different, you probably aren't going to completely change the franchise model, right? So make sure it's something that you already like and really vet it out. Right.
And it's a brand too that you're willing to get behind. That was one thing when we got with the original franchise that we went with. I loved the brand.
Yeah.
I saw the potential in it. I thought it was great. I loved the logo. It was something I could get behind, and it inspired me. So that was one thing. You definitely do want to love the brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do want to.
So pros and cons of franchising. I think franchising is a great way, especially for a first-time business owner, to enter small business and have that backing and support. It's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll move on to section 3, and we'll talk about the industry. So, float therapy industry which is also encapsulated into the wellness industry. It has a 8% growth annually, so that's huge, right? That's historically, it's a lot more now. I would like to see the numbers vet out now, because, and this goes to another one of these points here, is people are looking for non-pharmacological solutions. Big Pharma has taken a big hit the last few years, and we offer solutions to that, right? That is the biggest thing. They are, is it Eastern medicine or whatever, or alternative therapies, call it whatever you want to call it. We are still doing the things without popping pills.
Right.
And that is a huge thing for us, and people are all about it now. There is a wide customer demographic with this. We have numbers on who our typical customer is, but it's so far over. I mean, every race, color, creed, age, economic.
It's insane. Yeah. We've seen it all.
We have the yogis, we have the Rogan bros, we have the runners, we have the cancer patients. I mean, it's just, you name it, they are coming in for one of the services or a product or something. Regardless of where you're at, you're looking for some type of relief.
At the end of the day, we're all overstimulated within our society right now. I mean, we all have some sort of stress. I'm not, no matter what it is, work stress, life stress, social media stress, political stress, whatever it is. We can all take a moment of just relaxation.
Absolutely.
And that's not really going away either. It's not something that you just get cured of stress and you don't have to do anything anymore. You continually need a way to handle stress or that self-care routine, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that ability to unplug. And that goes, this thing right here, it gets us every time. So this allows you to take that time and unplug. The fourth one is going to be an untapped market potential. There's just not that many people doing what we do.
Yeah.
There's wellness centers everywhere, sure. They don't focus on floats.
Yeah.
And that's where we're looking. That's kind of our niche. And that's where that's the big driver for us. I think in DFW here, there's maybe 3 major players.
Three in all of DFW. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the float market as a whole, it's crazy to me that nobody has come in here and captured this yet. I think the largest franchise in the U.S. has 40 locations or even less than that. And, to me, I want more people to have access to float therapy. I see it as being available like a massage place where, you see one in every city where people are educated around it and see it as more of that just normal addition to their routine. So I think that there just hasn't been a brand that has broken into the market yet, and that is our goal with this, is to really simplify float therapy, to make it modernized and available to everyone. And
now, having the franchisee background, though, we're also not going to put one in every damn corner.
No.
There's a balance here. Though, we're not Starbucks here, and we understand
every city, not street.
Every city, not street, right? And we want to have good, big territories to set our franchisees up for success. Yeah. The most disheartening thing in the world, I mean, we went through this. You open that store and you find out that the franchisor has now put one
3 miles
2.9
away.
miles
Oh.
away from you. And you're like, bro, what?
It doesn't benefit the brand.
It doesn't benefit the
Yeah.
brand. It doesn't benefit the individual franchisee. So we're very strict on that for sure. For sure.
Kyle, you want to talk about just the opportunity? What does the opportunity look like and what kind of sets us apart with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole idea when you get with us, when you come on board, the idea is you're going to get our exact blueprint. We have every little detail documented down. JoJo's been working on this for a year and we even walk through the store of down to flick on the lights and stuff like that. It's so stupid simple. If you want to micromanage yourself or you can do that. And we just hand it to you, right? It's a huge documents with a ton of resources and stuff like that. What differentiates us in this space is an experiential retail model. We focus on the experience with themed rooms, date nights, spa parties, things like that. We want to set ourselves apart. We want people to walk out having not just said, yeah, that was a fine float. But you go into our store, it's just different, and I know I'm biased on this, but I've been to a ton of float centers. This float is typically sterile and it's stuck in the corner of the room.
White room, dull.
Yes.
It's almost, kind of scary with some of those tanks out there, not going to lie. But.
Yeah, it looks like a doctor's office or an MRI room. And certainly, every time I go into a doctor's office now, my blood pressure goes through the roof. So I get that. We've built everything so that it is themed experiential rooms. Check that stuff out online. I mean, it's just a lot more memorable for people.
Yeah. And when we talk about experience, we're talking about when you walk in, from what you see, hear, touch, taste, smell, it's all promoting a feeling that you're feeling within our business. And these group parties and date nights, they're huge for us because now people are craving experiences even more than ever. I've noticed, especially post-COVID, people want a place to go do things and not just a place to do a service, but to really experience something.
And the execution on it and how we've developed the process and within their experience is so key right now. Customer service, pardon my French, is shit right now, right? I mean, every time you're just pushed and pulled and this, that, and the other, and that's the antithesis of what we do. We do not do any of that. Yeah. So it's very big and it's an easy way for us to stand out. Right. It really is. Another big differentiator for us is we are not pigeonholed into one specific offering. We have multiple modalities at the store. So as things move, as the industry moves, we can move with it. We can pivot. We can pivot. Pivot is key. When we started when we were part of the CBD franchise, it was CBD all over everything. Well, then the industry kind of moved to a little bit different product, and here we are. And people
now we're legally selling THC, but we have CBD on the name of our store, and it was hard to pivot. And we told ourselves we would never do that again. Although I don't plan on leaving float therapy anytime soon. But if something were to happen, or a new trend pops up, we want to be able to incorporate it, right? That's the whole point of being wellness focused.
Right. We wanted a brand that was a lot more over-encompassing. Let's say this cold plunge fad that's super hot right now, let's say that fades out. Where do some of these other places go?
Or infrared sauna. I'm seeing 100 infrared sauna franchises right now, and that's all they do is just focus on the infrared sauna, which is great. And I think the infrared sauna should be a tool we use for the rest of our lives, but it's kind of a trendy thing right now. And is that going to stay around? What if you want to add something else in, but your name is sweat something?
Yeah, so it doesn't.
And so, it's hard.
It's just hard. And then you can have the multiple, and even like seasonality and stuff of it too, right? Nobody wants to sit in the sauna when it's 105 degrees out. Like it just doesn't. So we're able to pitch and move and kind of stick. And as like JoJo kind of touched on, as the wellness industry moves, we plan on being some of the pioneers of that, whether it's, name another thing, hyperbaric chambers, whatever. Mm-hmm. We can vet those things, and if we need to, we can run that, right? Yeah. So that was a big thing for us. We also specialize in tying all of that together, right? So we specialize in the products along with the services and education for the full solution. That is the key there. If you miss out on all those, you're missing revenue and you're just not doing a service to your customers, right?
Yeah.
We're about finding solutions for the customers.
Yeah.
We just are. And this gives you multiple tools to throw at it so that they can get success.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'll touch on the model a little bit. The biggest one is the recurring revenue with memberships, right? We do sell memberships. It's incentivized for them. That is technically, passive income, right? As you get more people on the books, it just ups everything and it brings them back into the store. Right? So if they have a credit and they have to use it, they're coming in. And when they come into the store, they then see one of the new products that you had or some vitamins that they were looking for.
They're bringing a friend
they bring in a friend, right? So it brings people back and you get that kind of recurring revenue. Jeez, easy for me to say. We do utilize a founding member launch strategy. So that way, when you open your doors, you're like, oh my, you're starting at zero. Well, this way, you at least have a couple members on the books, people then coming in, fans of your brand, right? That can come in and you're not starting 100% from zero, right? The third thing, which I think is the most important, is it's high margins. Right? Service-based businesses are just higher margins, flat out. I would much rather do $100 in float sales than sell $200 in product, whatever, right? There's just so much more margin within that, and all you're really paying for is the equipment. And once that's done, it's a game changer. It just really helps that bottom line.
When we switched from product to services, or added in the services, we're like, whoa, we need to keep doing services. The margins are great. Once you pay off that equipment, it's game over.
It's gravy, baby. Yeah. And then another thing that's huge is there's zero providers, right? Harkening back to that, the experiences that we had with all those, estheticians and all that stuff. You got one person running the whole store.
Yeah.
We got rid of that. So you now are dealing with machines. So one person can run the store.
Yeah.
We have other, when at the busier times, we'll have two, or I'll back up one of the employees, or they'll back me up or whatever. But for the most part, you got one person there, and that's payroll, and that's a big expense. So if you can keep that down, there's just more money in your pocket. And then once again, back to the experience-based. The experience-based drives revenue. It drives group parties, events, things like that. You become known as the place that people can go and escape. And like Joanne said, if you do an event, that's 5, 6, 7 people in there who are now, you have an opportunity to pitch memberships.
Yeah.
They're buying product. They're, more Google reviews, more this, more that. It's just more. So that was a big, big thing for us.
It's very influencer friendly, I'd say.
It is. Very, very social media friendly. Yes.
All right. So that's the opportunity. Obviously, if you want to hear more about the revenue projections and what the cost is, schedule a call with us. In addition to, the blueprint that you get a ton of training and support. So we provide you an online onboarding that you get access to right away that teaches you what to look for in a location, how to negotiate your lease, how to do the build out. I mean, from the wallpaper to the paint color to what towel warmer to buy. It's all there for you in this training. We talk about how to market the business, how to do the founding member launch, how to do your payroll, your systems and back-end processes. Everything is outlined for you in this training that you can go back to anytime. We'll do weekly one-on-ones with you. Likely right now it would be with myself or Kyle. So we really get a lot of our assistance. We have an SOP library, standard operating procedure library. So anytime you have a question, how do I change the filter on the cold plunge? How do I treat the water in the float tank? How do I set up this date night? You go into that library and boom, you find a complete step-by-step on how to do it. And then we do in-person training at our location here in Coppell, and then also at your location before you open to make sure you're really comfortable. Some of the perks for this franchise is we've pre-negotiated discounts on equipment, supplies, and products. A lot of franchisors will go negotiate those discounts and keep them for themselves.
Right.
But having been a franchisee before, we feel that's the benefit of being in a franchise.
Right.
So we've negotiated a lot of these things for you. We just recently went through a huge exercise with a Story brand certified marketing agency. When we talk about the float industry, I think one thing that has kept it from blowing up to becoming this mainstream thing is people really understanding it, like what is float therapy. So we worked with this marketing agency, and if you haven't looked into Story brand, highly recommend get the book, read it. It's a great one. But to really simplify why you should float within 7 seconds. So go to our website, check out the brand video there. We worked really hard on that because this is a brand now that's not just our own brand. It can be your brand as well. And so we wanted to invest in that. Franchise community and monthly training workshops. So we bring in experts, we bring in that community, continue to foster and grow together. If you have an expertise in an area, you can help others. And then other people will be helping you that have an expertise. It's just this really cool community that we're building here that we are very excited about. There's so much more that I think we could be sharing and that we would love to share with you. So reach out to us. Let's just have a simple, no strings attached conversation. Yeah. We'll share more with you, dive into some of the projections so you can understand what's the potential here for you. So go to alteredstateswellness.com/franchise. Put in your info there. You can schedule a call with us. We would love to chat with you. We are so excited to expand and grow. We've been talking to a lot of really neat people through this process, so we're excited.
Yes, so excited. Give us a shout if you guys are interested. What else we have on this? Should we put a bow on it?
I think that's it. Yeah, reach out to us. We can't wait to hear from you.
Thanks, guys. See you in the next episode.